Hi everyone and welcome back to Talking Threads, the textile innovation show with me, Fiona Harron.
And me, Jessica Owen.
So this last episode in the series is sponsored by Innovate, a 5-day virtual event that connects innovators from across the textile and apparel industry to find suppliers, evaluate the competitive environment, attend educational programs and much more. The event takes place from the 25th to the 29th of October 2021, and if you would like to register for free, please click on the link below.
Now on to this week's news, and first up, the Sustainable Apparel Coalition and HIG have launched a new programme for publicly sharing data about a product's environmental impact, starting with its material content. The programme provides a way for brands, retailers and manufacturers to share sustainability information on apparel and footwear products across impact categories such as water use, greenhouse gas emissions and the use of fossil fuels. Brands that have already announced to implement the first phase of this programme for their products include H&M, Helly Hansen, Puma, Lenzing and Columbia Sportswear.
Alchemy Technology, a leader in waterless digital on-demand smart dyeing technology, has partnered with HiQ as it prepares the production rollout of its Navara digital finishing solution to the global textile market in Q3 this year. According to Dr. Simon Q, Alchemy's managing director, extensive testing using HiQ's chemistry with Alchemy's digital finishing technology has achieved exceptional finishing performance with half the chemistry required of traditional finishing methods.
Elsewhere, researchers at Fudan University in China have created an electronic luminescent textile that is flexible, breathable and durable. The new design weaves conductive fibres and luminescent fibres together with cotton to create a fabric display that can withstand 1,000 cycles of bending, stretching and pressing and remain stable in terms of the brightness of the electroluminescent units after 100 washes. The team says that its innovation could be used to create a wearable interactive map or be used as a communications tool in future.
And finally, from the 7th to the 9th of November this year, the world of apparel and textiles will meet in Antwerp, Belgium for a unique double convention. The 36th World Fashion Convention on the 7th to the 8th of November, hosted by IAF, and the 9th European Textiles and Apparel Convention on the 8th to the 9th of November, hosted by Eurotex. The main topic of conversation will be COVID-19's impact on supply chains. People can register for the event at conventionantwerp.com.
Yes, now moving on, we are going to be joined in the studio by our very own Victoria Nickerson to talk about the recent Performance Days event. So Tori, you attended the event. Do you mind just telling us a bit about what went on at the show, please?
So, Performance Days returned from the 17th to the 21st of May to discuss innovations, trends and new fabrics in the activewear sector. So for the second year running, the conference was held virtually due to the ongoing pandemic. However, they do hope to run a hybrid event in December with online content and live sessions in Munich. So as you may know, the Performance Days fair is usually dedicated to a particular focus topic, and this time it was still physical. And this refers to the effects of the pandemic, which has largely forced our lives online. So whether through work, school, or even socialising on Zoom, there's been a huge need to counterbalance the digital world with physical activity and spending time outdoors. So in line with this trend, the industry has been rethinking the functionality of sports and activewear clothing. So a number of fabrics presented at the show were focused on enhancing consumer well-being, and they were integrated with oils that came from algae, argan, castor, cinnamon, or even sunflower seeds, as these natural additives have been found to have several performance claims attributed to them, such as supportive blood circulation, anti-odour and thermoregulation functions. As to be expected, there was also a prominent focus on sustainability throughout the event. For instance, one of the sessions was on regenerative agricultural practices and how players throughout the textile and apparel industry should be looking to adopt these kind of strategies to drive sustainable change. Another session was titled Beating the Buzzwords, and this focused on the misuse of sustainability terms, such as bio-based, biodegradable and compostable. So, during the session, Hohenstein CEO Dr. Timo Hammer mentioned that bio-based materials do not actually automatically infer biodegradability, as some simply don't carry the capacity to do so. Meanwhile, not all petrol-based materials are incapable of biodegrading. He also said that the proper usage of these terms is fundamentally important when sourcing materials that need to align with specific sustainability targets. And finally, another key feature from the show's lineup was Performance Day's new project, 3D Forum. And this is a digital sourcing solution where fabrics are digitally recreated using photorealistic 3D renderings and video animations.
And the 3D Digital Forum sounds interesting. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, so the 3D Forum, Performance Day's 3D Forum renders the show's top fabrics in a digital format to provide a virtual translation of their hand-on fill. So this sort of highlighting the growing emphasis on digitalisation. Each rendered fabric also has a downloadable U3M file corresponding with it. And while this is definitely not a substitute for traditional swatches, this supplementary feature is compatible with the majority of the industry's 3D design applications, and this allows the attendees to recreate the material in their own digital workspaces. So perhaps we'll see this feature transcend the Performance Days Loop and other online show spaces as digital product development is increasingly adopted in the industry.
Well, thank you for that, Tori. That's some really interesting insights there. Now it's time for a short video from this week's sponsor, Innovate. And after that, Fiona and I will be taking a look back over some of the innovations that we've seen over the last few weeks.
Now, usually at this point in the show, we are joined by our second guest, but seeing as though it's the last episode in the series, we thought we'd review some of the exciting innovations that have come to light over the last few weeks.
Yes, and the first thing that I'd like to talk about in particular is Colour on Demand. So if you remember, this is the zero wastewater cotton dyeing system that was launched by Ralph Lauren with its collaborators, including Dow, Corob and Huntsman. I think I've named them all. And what was interesting about this is that the system allows you to use 90% less chemicals, 50% less water and 50% less dye as well. And this was all thanks to Dow's EcoFast Pure pre-treatment, which essentially pre-treats cotton so that it becomes positively charged, helping it to attract the negatively charged dye. And I think the other thing that was really interesting about this is how Ralph Lauren has allowed it to be open source to the industry. So hopefully people can look at it, learn from it, and I think it will be really interesting to see what other innovations come from that.
Definitely, and keeping with sustainability, we also reported on the Textiles 2030 initiative launched by the UK charity WRAP, and this has been described as the most ambitious 10-year programme for clothing and textiles in the world, with the aim to slash, of course, the environmental impact of our industry. Now, a number of big brands have already signed up for the initiative from the UK, Marks & Spencer, ASOS, Ted Baker, to name just a few, and of course the charity is looking for more to sign up to show their commitment to their customers through this initiative. And it's set up a roadmap for the next decade, which includes implementing circular business models and using recycled materials.
And another sustainable story is everything seems to be sustainability related these days. We spoke to Devan Chemicals a few weeks ago as they had launched bio-based fragrances at the time, and actually since then they've gone on to announce a couple other developments as well. So firstly, they've partnered yet again with Gina Loggia to create a system that reduces water in antimicrobial and skincare finishes for garments. And elsewhere, they've also created another bio-based product. So they've produced some bio-based softeners and some quick dry finishes as well. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, and of course we've got some interesting shows that are coming up, starting with the International Non-Wovens Symposium, which starts next week, doesn't it, Jess?
It does. So I think this is going to be on Wednesday and Thursday next week. It's just a 2-day event. And as people know from previous shows, it's just a really great opportunity to sort of just get up to speed with all the innovations that's going on. I think there's like white papers and quite a few presentations. And just looking at the programme, which is already online, there's going to be, for obvious reasons, there's a real big emphasis on sustainability, COVID-19 as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of really interesting stuff there.
Yeah, and then the next event after that is ITMA Asia, the big one there. And of course, that's happening from the 12th to the 16th of June. There's going to be a lot less, for obvious reasons, international exhibitors and visitors, hence why many companies are going to be represented by their Chinese divisions and will present hybrid booth concepts. Erlacon is one example. So it will have Chinese experts live on site, and then representatives from Germany, the US and India. They'll all be available online throughout the 5 days. Grosbecker is also complementing its physical booth with a virtual display via augmented reality, and that should be interesting. And also Shimaseki told us that besides its usual machinery demonstrations, it's also going to exhibit sort of various online solutions and digital transformation applications.
And it's funny you say digital there, because I think this is just going to be a prevailing theme across the entire show. I mean, from the press releases we've seen so far, there's Genealogia. It's going to be showing its new automated system called Handman, which I think involves like robots and things there. Muratech has announced an automatic winder. You've also got Asta showing off its Quantum 4.0 yarn clearer. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite an interesting and different show this year.
And then the Future Fabric Expo is coming up, which I understand you're visiting, Jess.
Yes, so I think this will be it was actually the last show that I attended in person, and it will be the first show post-COVID that I'll be attending in person. So this is running for quite a few days down in London, and I think what's really good about this show is it's a one-stop shop for all your sort of sustainable fabrics and materials. They're also going to have a few presentations each day as well. But the reason I'm kind of looking forward to it is because they last time they just sort of had an area that highlighted some of the research that's going on and sort of the upcoming technologies that's slightly, unique and wacky. So it'll be interesting to see if they've updated that section at all.
Yeah, it's great to see more physical shows now coming back onto the events calendar, so we look forward to attending those as we enter the new normal.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's all we've got time for today, everyone. But until next time, do remember to check out all previous episodes and interviews of Talking Threads on our website at wtin.com.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Until the next time, we'll see you soon.